and welcome. I'm Millicent Walker. Tonight, Federal High Court in Lagos strikes out suit against 7 banks accused of withholding funds meant for the Treasury single account. Socio-Economic and Accountability Project accuses 3 past administrations of squandering 11 trillion naira on power projects between 1999 and 2017. Authorities at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital and the Lagos State Government allay fears over Lassa fever, says situation is under control. And Kenya's main opposition candidate Raila Odinga disputes outcome of yesterday's presidential election, says Election Commission's computers hacked to favor incumbent.
On Business News tonight, Nigeria's forex reserves rises to a 2-year high of 31.22 billion naira this week.
On sports news tonight, Nigeria's Blessing Okagbare qualifies for the final of the long jump event at the 2017 IAAF World Championships in London.
And from Abuja, People's Democratic Party vows to take over power at the federal level come 2019 as it gets set for its non-elective national convention in Abuja.
We begin tonight with the 7 commercial banks accused of not remitting government monies in their custody to the Treasury single account, that they can now breathe fresh air as a federal high court in Lagos today struck out the damning suit instituted by the federal government. The banks have also been awarded 200,000 naira each in damages, which will be paid by the federal government. The banks were accused of hiding $793.2 million belonging to several government ministries before government lawyers withdrew the suit. Our correspondent Shola Shirley tells us more.
On Tuesday, counsel to the federal government, Professor Yemi Akisheye George, had told the court that the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Abubakar Malami, asked him to withdraw the suit against the 7 banks in the larger interest of the public and because of the economic implications. The counsel had also disclosed that the government had decided to explore an out-of-court settlement with the banks. Even though the banks did not oppose the notice of discontinuance of the suit, through their lawyers, they had insisted that the government's allegation against them was false and had caused substantial damage to their reputation. They urged the judge not to merely strike out the suit, but to dismiss it and award costs of between 10 to 20 million naira against the federal government. But in his ruling, Justice Chuka Obiozor held that dismissal of a suit is one of the gravest actions a plaintiff can face, and so the court must be slow to take this option and only exercise such discretion judiciously. Having considered the reasons for the withdrawal of the suit, the court held that since the case was yet to proceed to trial, the proper order to make was to strike it out. On the issue of cost, the judge held that he could not turn a blind eye to the effects of the interim order on the banks. He declined to grant the amounts demanded as cost, especially as the defendants had placed no evidence before him to support the damage to their reputation. In the exercise of his discretion, he awarded a cost of 200,000 naira each in favor of the 6 banks legally represented. The court then vacated the interim order made on the 20th of July in favor of the federal government and ordered the AGF not to release the suit without first seeking the leave of the court. Parties in the matter declined to comment on the ruling, but some of the defendants' counsel say they will wait to be briefed by their clients as to the next move. Shola Shoyeli, Channels Television News.
It appears that the threat to arrest the managing directors of 33 companies who failed to appear before a Senate investigative panel is yielding results, as 11 of the organizations were present at the continuation of the investigative panel meeting today at the National Assembly. The Senate Committee on Customs is investigating the loss of nearly 30 trillion naira of government revenue in the maritime sector. Some of the companies appearing before the Senate Committee are Dana Group, China Export, Halliburton, as well as CFAO Group, First Land Campina, and British American Tobacco.
We don't want to create unnecessary panic in the market. Some of these companies are publicly quoted companies. Our interest is to confront them with infractions we have identified that their companies are involved with, and to resolve issues going forward, ensure government collects the necessary revenues that have not been collected before this time, and then block these areas of leakages in such a manner that our national interests will be protected. So if there is anybody who is still in doubt as to whether there are recoverable revenues of government in the hands of these importers, by the admission of some of the companies now, it means that the person should better wake up. So we call on all Nigerians through this medium to support the Senate. We are all here very serious men and women, professionals from different fields of endeavor. Initially, some of these agencies of government and some private companies were reluctant attending or honoring Senate invitation. But with the threat and support of the police, I think they have responded and we are good to go.
A new report by the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, claims that more than 11 trillion naira electricity funds were allegedly squandered under the governments of former Presidents Olusegun Obasanjo, Umaru Yar'Adua and Goodluck Jonathan. The report is contained in a book written by an associate professor of energy and electricity law from the University of Lagos, Yemi Oke, titled "From Darkness to Darkness: How Nigerians Are Paying the Price for Corruption in the Electricity Sector." The report blames the 11 trillion naira estimated financial loss to corruption in the power sector between 1999 to date and anticipates the figure may reach more than 20 trillion in the next decade. SERAP says, quote, "The Obasanjo's administration spent $10 billion on NIP with no results in terms of increase in power generation. $13 billion was expended on the power sector in 8 years, while unfunded commitments amounted to $12 billion." End of quote. The report is asking the EFCC to reopen and effectively prosecute corruption allegations against some prominent Nigerians who played key roles in the award of contracts and projects that period. And to health, residents of Lagos State do not have reasons to panic over the recent outbreak of Lassa fever in the state, as government authorities say the situation is under control. Authorities at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital believe the story of the outbreak of the disease, which claimed 2 lives, is being sensationalized. And in Yobe State, northeast Nigeria, health administrators have denied knowledge of any confirmed case of Lassa fever.
97 out of 100 contacts of the 2 index cases are being monitored, according to the Chief Medical Director of LUTH, and have not shown signs of infection. 3 who tested positive are responding to treatment, but never came down with significant symptoms.
They were instructed what to do, what to look for. If you feel headache, fever, if you feel sore throat, and you should monitor your temperature every day. Each one of them has a thermometer. A core group of nurses, doctors, pharmacists, cleaners, everybody rose up as one to take care of these, the patients that we have managed in LUTH. The patients are responding to treatment. They are responding positively to treatment. In fact, the psychologist has had to be drafted in to give them the needed emotional support as well.
Also present at the meeting is the State Director of Disease Control, who assures all present that the state government is working with the university to make sure the situation remains contained. He also reminds the public that Lassa fever has a known cure.
We gave the initial consignment of drugs for the treatment from Lagos State Ministry of Health. And we also have additional drugs, and we also gave PPE, that's the personal protective equipment, to youth.
Meanwhile, in Yobe State, physicians are monitoring 3 out of 7 people initially suspected to have contracted the hemorrhagic fever.
We have seen the progress of this particular 3 cases that initially we thought might be Lassa fever. They are actually yet to be confirmed as Lassa fever. So I want to submit that as of today, as we talk, there is no confirmed case of Lassa fever in Yobe State.
Workers from the health ministries of Lagos and Yobe states also ask residents to wash their hands regularly with soap and water. keep their surroundings clean, their houses as rat-free as possible, and to cover cooked and uncooked food to avoid contracting the disease. Mary Alale Yusuf, Channels Television News.
A man suspected to be in his late 30s has been rescued by the police, where he was unlawfully locked up for over a year by his parents in the Mushi area of Lagos State. At the time of the rescue, which was made possible by a tip-off from the neighborhood, the victim, Bolaji Sholola, was found in a very filthy room. The area commander, Area D, who led the operation, condemned the situation and promised that further investigation would be carried out to ascertain the motive behind this crime.
The DPO's Alakara police station, the Olosun police station in Mushin area of Lagos State, alongside a human rights advocate, meet with the area commander, Area D. This is to decide what steps to be taken to effect the rescue of a man allegedly locked up by the parents for over 18 months in the Damigoro area of Mushin. The team sets out with the area commander leading the mission. On getting to the house on number 18 Damigoro Street, they swing into action. It's a sorry sight as the victim emerges from the dingy room where he has been kept for over a year by the grandmother, with the consent of the family, allegedly for mental imbalance.
Where are you, sir?
The area commander engages the victim's father, said to be a medical doctor in Yola, on the phone.
Your son is the person we had information that you people locked up for over a year.
Next step is to get him some medical care, but the police chief expresses his disappointment.
If somebody has been subjected to this type of inhuman treatment, we need to go and examine him, because it will, even if he, at his earlier mental state is normal, in that kind of environment, something will have gone wrong.
As for this human rights advocate, Paul Omashite, who reported the incident, they should not be treated with kid gloves.
It's the act generally is barbaric, and the degrading human treatment that has been meted out to this young man is something we should all condemn. And I believe afterwards we would all ensure that those who are found culpable of this should be brought to book.
The victim finally gets to the neuropsychiatric hospital Yaba, where he is expected to get some medical attention. While we were denied entrance further into the hospital, we however gathered that he was a patient who defaulted without the needed attention from the parents, and as such was repatriated home. Now that the wind has blown the lead of the story, it would be necessary to ensure Mr. Sholola gets the needed treatment this time around. Chris Elems, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, the Federal Executive Council approves refinancing of $3 billion worth of Treasury bills as part of efforts to restructuring the nation's debt profile. Do join us again.